Hello there and welcome to this demo. I'm going to show you how to use ink and bleach to create images that have a different kind of hue to them than you would expect. In terms of materials that I'm using, first of all, the paper is a 200 GSM watercolor paper. This one I bought at a novelty art shop, so it's not the greatest quality, and it's also definitely not 100% cotton, but it will do the job. Other things I'm using is the ink. The ink I'm using is Parker Quick. This is quite an old ink, you can see by its label. But usually for fountain pens and or ink drawing with brushes and so on. I also have a few brushes. The brushes I have are not my best brushes, and that's deliberate. That is because I am working with bleach, and the bleach can eat away at the bristles of the brush. Also note, because you are working with bleach, this is not a type of project that will last. The paper will eventually deteriorate where the bleach is applied to, so this is more just for like a fun little practice thing or something temporary or decorative that you'll want to do. I also have then a container or palette such as this. What I have in here is some of the ink. In here, I don't know how well you can see it though, is the bleach itself, which I'll show you which bleach I'm using now. This is a mixture of water and bleach, and then I just have some tests with just normal bits from the ink in this section here. I also have a spray bottle with water. It's an old hair thing that I have. Find it very useful. Some toilet paper, paper towels, a syringe. I haven't actually used this yet, but if I want to like be more precise and measure things, it's something one can consider using. And then a container with water. I do a double water system like this, where this water will become the dirty water and this will be the clean water as I work. Okay. So firstly, I'm going to do a couple of tests, not a proper image. Afterwards, then I will actually do something a little more definitive. Excuse me, that's just the sound of the chair. Right, so just try and get that in. So to remind you, that's the bleach in there. Oh, I didn't show you the bleach. So the bleach I'm using is a thick one of these brand here in South Africa. It is a thickish bleach, not a diluted one that you get, but obviously you can dilute it. I only use a small drop of it as well. Okay, so I'm going to just mix a little bit more into the water area. I also have just a wad of paper around. This is the ink neat. And then when you start to add the bleach dilution, you'll see the effects that you get, the different changes in colour. This is a very experimental type of approach to this project. By that I mean you can't really expect something precise to happen. You've got to see what happens as it works. So if you are someone who likes things to be exact and want to know what the outcome is, you might get a bit frustrated with this. I'm just going to see, like, so that's now just mixing diluted bleach and ink. See if I put actual ink straight on going over it, what effects I can get. I also want to try spraying water onto the paper. Okay, expecting that is wet first. So you see what the bleach actually does, it changes the ink into these orange, rusty kind of hues. See if I take straight, oopsie, bleach onto. I'm also going to do a little experiment here where I have to take a bit of black ink only. I'm going to let this bit dry and then I'll work over it with bleach. And then I'll see how that comes out. So just to let you know, I am filming this without my light on, because when the light is on I get a glare on the image, as you can see over there. I will however change now and again just to see what the difference looks like and help with the visuals as well. But I do think at the moment that works better. So while I'm waiting for that water to dry, I see that some of the ink and water mixture is starting to pool, so I'm just going to push this away. I don't want it to fall on the section that I want to dry. Oh, and I just did it. Oh my goodness, let's try and save half of that. Okay. I'm just going to draw a line through so I know that section is what I need to work on, to show how this effect works on ink that is already dried. Okay, it looks like that it is dried. I'll put the light on again, and I'm going to give it a test with the bleach on top of it. I'm going to use the solid bleach, the undiluted one. Okay, that's pretty cool. Try some of the diluted and get as an intense effect. So this effect clearly works nicely if you're going to use images that are monochrome or bichrome, if you're doing with the red and black as alternative colors. It is a good idea to do a test bit if this is the first time you are doing something like this. It will show you how to use it, what effects you can get and so on. It also shows you with your brushes a different type of mark making you can probably make out as well. I haven't really experimented with my skinny brush. Again, I'm using old brushes because I am working with bleach and it eventually will destroy the bristles. Obviously after I dip it in the bleach, I make sure I rinse it. You can probably hear it in the background. You don't leave it standing in any of the, or leave it with bleach on. Let's see with one of my flats. You can see there where the paper's starting to get a little bit funny as well. So like I said before, this is not something that you do if you're planning on doing archival work. Okay, just to show you that some of the ink and that has kind of bleeded through, or the bleach, there's basically moisture on the board that I was working on. So make sure you are working on a surface that is protected. I do have paper behind this, but on this board I'm probably going to put a sheet of paper first and then the image. It does bleed through, so I'll show you the back as well. You can see little bits of it coming through there as well. Okay. So the image I am doing is of a red-winged starling. It's a bird that I have in my garden. We have a breeding pair actually. The image I'm using is from Pixabay. It's actually the female one. You can see it's got the grey head. The male has a black head. I might adapt it to be a male. I'll see how as I go along. But yeah, I've just taped it down with some masking tape. I forgot to put a paper behind, but I'm not going to do that. That's fine. I'm also going to switch the light off again because I know it's going to glare at first. Okay. I'm going to start off by wetting the paper a bit. I do want some bleach through. I'm not worried about this being a super neat and accurate drawing. I do want a more sketchy approach. I am in general trying to work in that direction, although I do struggle getting that. Whoops, I might have gone too overboard there, but that's fine. If you are a beginner in art, I do find birds work very nice. They generally have a uniform body shape, so once you get that sorted, it's easy to draw. And then if you are working in colour, you get some very colourful examples out there. I don't really have a game plan. I didn't want that to happen though. I'm just going to try and arrest that ink from spreading any further by dabbing it. Always have some paper towel, tissue or something nearby. I'm also not too happy with the edges. Let's see if I can do something there. I'll get back to it, I'll do a background or something. I'm going to put some water in one of these compartments so I don't have to reach too far away. So I just need to get the brush a bit wet. I'm going to let that dry again and then work over it again. Just to see what it looks like with the light on. You'll see there's still a glare. I'm not actually too happy with how much it's bleeding out. I shouldn't have actually sprayed the water so much. Oh well, live and learn. You can always combine this with other mediums. So maybe if this is not that effective, I might just do a background of watercolor or something to hide, or gouache to hide that. Although ideally I would like it just to be a bleach and ink drawing. It's dried a little bit, almost dry. I'm just going to start working in more detail now. I'm switching the light off because now I'm actually getting the glare in my own face. I'm struggling to see. I'll look in when I edit it if I need to make it lighter. Unfortunately, the only way I can direct my camera is directly at top, and then it catches the glare from anything I work with. Something I tend to do when I draw birds is I tend to make their bodies very chunky, like they're bodybuilders. And that's what's happened here. Oh well. Let's see if I can use this bleach effect to get rid of the fuzziness that I created earlier. Seems to work to some extent. I'll use a neat bleach, it seems to work best. There we go. Obviously, if you have a sensitivity to bleach and the odor of it, you may want to avoid this technique, or work with gloves and a mask. Also work somewhere where it's a bit ventilated. Yeah, any splashes on it. There might be an effect for later though, it's an idea. Deliberately splash it and see what I get. kind of really playing around, going random here. I don't really know what's going to happen, but it's part of the fun of this. See what you end up with. I've gone too dark there, maybe a different brush. I can't seem to really fix that, but oh well. I'll try and make a background that can cover it. And make it like a branch or something. So what's happening here where I've been painting now, I had missed bits of bleach, the thick bleach over it, and now when I paint over with the ink it gives me this effect, which is actually quite a nice surprise. And actually bring it all out to the foreground. I don't work too much in this corner because I kind of like the contrast of dark and light between the two areas. I'll work a bit more on the bottom here, but I know this area is out of most of the camera view. Again, it's because if I zoom out, I lose a lot of detail. Let me show you. See, I don't know if I'm performing with my phone, and so the quality does become a bit different when I zoom out. But I'll stick it back onto normal view. I'm going to let it dry again, and then I'm just going to come and fix up the areas where you have these marks over the bird's body. And then I'll see what else, maybe more detail here, although I don't want to overwork it. Like I said, I'm just going to go through and cover some of these areas where this line has come through. Okay. Another thing I just want to try out is actually want to do some splashing in the background with the bleach, but I don't want too much of it on the bird itself. I'm just going to cover a piece of paper so it's a bit of the diluted. Be careful with our splash as well. See, I went and splashed on the beak, which I just painted over. It's fun. Let's see. Uh-oh, no. I want a solid beak, I don't want a furry beak. Let's Try and push it back, and then I'll wait for it to dry and rework the peak. I feel I've overworked the rock here. See if I can push it back a bit with the bleach. Okay. I'm going to let it dry again, fix the beak, and then I'm going to work on it with a few micron pens. But I want it completely dry before I work with the pen. Okay, it has dried sufficiently. I'm now going to work on it in pen. And for that reason, I'm actually going to keep the light on because it's not really reflecting too much anymore. There's no moisture on the surface of the paper. The pens I am working with are these Pigma Microns. I'm going to give that a go. It's 01, which is what, the 0.25 millimeter line. And then I've also got a brush pen. And then I'll see if I use it, but this is a Pentel hybrid gel marker. I think the one by, what brand is it now? Sigma. There's a different brand. I'll have to look it up and let you know. That's actually a little bit better than if you want to work with a white pen. Okay, maybe if some of you know, you can put it in the comments which one I'm thinking of. I've got a feeling it's by Mitsubishi, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so start with the reason I waited for this to dry to these the nib is quite sharp, and if the paper is wet, it can actually scratch into it and damage the paper. These are waterproof, so if you do want to go over it with ink again, for example, and it's wet, it shouldn't change what you do with the pen. I was struggling to get a fine point with the ink and the brush for the beak, so that's why I'm working that with the brush pen. I'm going to do the same with the eye. And also wanted to fix up this area, get a more definitive line going for the tail over there. Definitely made the neck too short if I look at the reference image. This grey neckline should have been more quarter, yeah. Oh well. Won some, you lose some, I guess. One thing I don't like about these micron pens is that they are a bit scratchy. I don't particularly like their nibs as such. I want to give it another drawing pen like Tombow or something a try at some stage. Or Faber-Castell. See how they compare. For now this does its job, so it's fine. I'm not going to get too much detail into this because I kind of want it to remain primarily an ink and bleach drawing. What I also noticed as it's dried, the effect of the bleach is actually faded a bit as well. It's not as sharp a red as it was before, or rust colour. So I expect also as ages it will also change. Like I said, don't do this for work that you want to create that's archival in nature, because it won't really work out like that. These pens are available in different size nibs, so you can get thicker lines. I usually prefer drawing with, I think it's a 0.5 size one. Not sure how much it is in millimeters, but the one I have is drying out, or has dried out rather. That is the edge of the rock face. And I'm also thinking of sharpening up some of these. The thing with the gel pen, it doesn't always work to begin with, so I tend to work on it on the side first, just to get it moving. I'm just going to put a little bit on there. I was going to put it in the eye, but I actually do have a bit of white that I left there, so don't really want to add too much white though with the gel pen. I think that is about it. Now for the nice part. With the leftover ink that was in the palette, I put that back in a container. I didn't put it back in the main ink bottle because it could be contaminated with bleach, but I don't want to waste it, so I'll save it for another project. So now so you can see the whole thing. Oops, what happened there? There we go. Okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you want to see more videos and more tutorials, let me know if you have any opinions on this project, on this technique. If it's something you'll try, with how it goes. Also, if you use it with any other ink, I've only really worked it with the Parker Quink, so I'm not sure how this would react with other types of ink, so please let me know if you do test it out, if it works with various other inks or not, even with coloured ink as well. It's not something I also tried, but it might also work quite nicely with some of them. Anyway, thanks for watching and take care.